Let's talk about stalking. The harassment or following of someone with unwanted and obsessive attention. While it can range from debatably harmless Instagram and Facebook research on a person who clearly doesn't suit your friend, to the insanely creepy act of following people around, stalking is a big problem that is often caused by people who don't understand boundaries. With that said, who in their right mind would want to be stalked? It's me, I want to be stalked. From her reveal in the first Pokemon Scarlet and Violet trailer, Nemona made big waves crashing into the Pokemon scene. A lot of people were hyped about her character concept and how she would be implemented throughout the story, and spoiler alert, she's an 11 out of 10. When I found out she was already a champion, I was hyped. It's been such a long time since they made a rival in a Pokemon game competent. And they already made her the student council president of the fucking Hogwarts in Paldea. It's like they were sick and tired of people complaining about How and Hop and whatever this was. So they finally had someone graduate from the weenie school of rivals. Also, so many of these rivals are in the shadow of another person, like Silver with Giovanni, Hop and his brother Leon, May with, not May. So it's refreshing to see Nimona stand above the rest as an actual human being. Long past are the days where your rival is one step ahead of you with their underleveled starter, and here comes a complete badass who swept through victory road before you can even say subscribe. However, above all other traits and characteristics, Nintendo has gifted us with what everyone in the anime community reveres as the holy grail of attributes, and that is a senpai. That's right people, science finally put two L's together and made a W! The concept of having a senior isn't actually new to the Pokemon games, but it was always something that I really appreciated for its added anticipation. It was really neat whenever Steven Stone would swoop in out of nowhere to mentor the player, but then also join you in the magma fight, help you turn over the craziest climate change debate of all time, and then turn out to be an insane level 80 plus super boss. Not saying having an equal level rival doesn't have its perks, and character progression is something I definitely crave in any game, but it's just on another level when you know someone who's cared for you for so long has been overpowered the entire time. That said, I wouldn't be doing this piece without mentioning Nemona's rival amongst rivals, and one of the most iconic rivals in the franchise, Gary Oak. From the first episode of the anime, he presented himself as the Sigma male of the franchise. Everything characterized about Gary was based on being kind of an asshole, and little 5-year-old me ate it up every time he appeared on screen. From his sassy quotes to his powerful teams, most modern characters honestly couldn't compare to the way he took up presence, and that's for good reason. He was characterized incredibly well, or at least better than the average. Beyond the snide remarks about his passion for general hygiene, Gary grew on me the more Nintendo fleshed his character out. He works hard for his personal sense of self without being associated with his famous grandfather. He's tough on himself in order to always be the better trainer. He talks shit, but he backs it up and puts up a fight through and through with grace and respect. The Pokemon Adventures manga only added more to his personality. The sequels show how he's grown as a person, and the Pokemon Origin series truly demonstrated why he was the first champion we ever saw to make it past the Elite Four before weenie little me stepped in with my overlevel Charizard, pushing down his whole team. With that said, Nemona is not that. Instead, Game Freak took a really interesting turn with her character. She's not a little baby in the shadow of their brother, nor is she Giga Chad 1 million whose goal is to power through the world and be the very best. No, she is, and as you may have inferred by the title, a stalk Goku. Wait, what? So hear me out. Nemona isn't necessarily a stalker. I think she's a bit misunderstood because of the internet, classic internet, and actually stands out as a refreshing new style of a rival. Yeah, she indescribably makes her way to you no matter what gym you're at, even though the gym order in Paldea can be completely random, but everyone does that, it's Pokemon. And yes, she doesn't have boundaries and won't take no for an answer. Okay, maybe she's a bit of a sucker. But at least to me, these characteristics never came off as creepy. She's certainly possessive over your time, but considering her backstory, it makes sense. See, as a champion ranked trainer, Nemona became the very best like no one ever was, and that came along with no one being the very best like her. She never got the chance at competition after working incredibly hard, and there's a distinct lack of fulfillment without being challenged. Very much like with Goku, Nemona yearns to go all out and desires a good fight even if she loses. And this is a rather reasonable claim Nintendo is making with her backstory. In any competitive sport or game, things can get really stale without any viable competition. I would know, as I'm also a top 1% of sorts. What makes her feel like a believable character though, despite all her energy, is that Nemona also wants other people to have fun too, so in every Pokemon battle she'd hold back in fear that people would alienate her more than they already do. No one wants to play me either, so again, Nemona, I feel you. She even notes that when she became champion during last year's treasure hunt, she wasn't really sure if the end result of being champion was a true treasure. Later on, she then reveals that her family situation doesn't make it better. Her mom and dad are owners of a massive company and are always away for work, while her sister is destined to one day inherit said company. Surprise, another victim of Pokemon mommy and daddy issues. So what does she do? She turns to Pokemon battling as a way to cope throughout her life. But when that very passion becomes a reason for the people around you to run away, what is there really left of your identity? So then here comes along you, the new kid in town who represents potential to Nemona, someone new who might be willing to give it a chance. She sees the affinity you have with the starter Pokemon and marvels at your ability to understand, type matchups. After doing the bare minimum, you're not just some random new kid next door, but a chance at breaking free from the stigma holding her down. Here's a question. Have you ever tried to get your friends interested in something? Maybe it was an anime or a TV show that you really loved and wanted other people to experience, or a video game that you think it'd be really fun to play with other people, but then they have a list, or it's not their thing, or they aren't and could never be on the same level as you. I'm sure everyone has run into the disappointment of people turning away your recommendation, and it sucks. It's totally normal for people not to aspire to the exact same things you do, but I can't help but feel slightly unfulfilled whenever it happens, and I'm sure Nimona is truly no different. As a mentor and as a friend, she wants you to excel and see you grow because it means that she gets to experience something more. Also, I'd want a new rival too if I was a champion and the best trainer in the region next to me was this. Ugh. It's a rather nuanced stylization of what superficially just seems like a lot to deal with from one person, and I think that's really neat that Game Freak went in a very different direction with her character. So you beat all 8 gyms in a flash, clear Victory Road and the Elite Four, leaving you finally worthy to face off against Nemona in a final fight. And what a final fight it is. In the middle of the plaza where you first experienced the colorful aesthetic of Paldea, everyone you met along your journey crowds around to witness the first match between Paldea's first 2 champions. I really love that as this happens, Nemona remarks that out of everyone who's excited, she's the most pumped for this champion battle. Finally, she can face you at her fullest potential, to which even the chairman of the entire league, La Primera, couldn't bring out of her, and it's a beautiful finale with a banging soundtrack. I think besides the Professor Sada fight in Area Zero, this has to be the best track in all of Scarlet and Violet by far. But here's my only criticism about Nemona. Look at her team! You're telling me that she's been a champion since your infancy and she chooses to battle against you at 100% with the team she just built up alongside you? Listen, I made a big deal about her being the champion and how Gita's team wasn't that great, but come on, Nintendo. I thought she'd have Garganacl, Armarouge, or Cerulege, any of the cooler Pokemon in the series, but no, we got these. This guy is already a part of Larry's team, so we've seen him before. And Earthworm, well, no real hate on against Earthworm, it's pretty adorable. It honestly could have been an 11 out of 10 full circle moment, but to be honest, I'll take anything that I can get. Now, understandably, I'm sure Nemona didn't strike a chord with everyone, and that's really okay. Maybe you resonated more with Penny's lone wolf journey or Arvin's abandonment issues. Or maybe Nemona's rich girl sob story of being better than everyone felt overbearing in comparison. If you're a regular grass toucher though, you'd probably know that the latter is not the case, as she's honestly an energetically expressive, awkward girl looking for a friend. I feel like calling her a yandere or a stalker is a gross overgeneralization of her character, and personally think she's a welcome breath of fresh air for the series. For a game based on the past and future, she lives in the present, and you can tell that in her style, which I think is really good character design. I mean, her hair is literally green, the color in the middle of the color spectrum, which starts with Scarlet and ends with Violet, hence living in the present. So, do I want this older girl to obsessively stalk me while I empathize with her backstory while she's a senpai, student council, champion galore? No, I lied. But do I want to be lifetime friends with an adventure-loving, kind rival who just wants the best for her and me? Absolutely. Hopefully when the new DLC comes out, we get to see a lot more of Nemona, and if you'd like to hear me gushing more about this series, consider subscribing. Let me know what you thought or what video I should do next in the comment section below. And as always, be happy.